What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my breakdown of the New Year's banner. With this banner, unfortunately, we have got a really bad change with the fact that they're not going to be giving us any kind of new characters in Tempest Trials as the free-to-play units. Instead, they're just going to be giving us the old units. So you would have seen in the current Tempest Trial, we are just given a 5-star New Year Ash, and that's pretty much it. No 4-star copy. Instead of it, we're just given some shards which are just worthless, and once these units are going to be in the Grail shop, you can just get 2 copies of them, so you cannot even plus and merge these units, and that really sucks because you were able to plus and merge these units without spending any kind of orbs, without summoning, without depending on your luck, because, you know, even plus and merging a demoted unit like Ancient Medius can be quite hard. I haven't got 11 copies of him after he has been out for so many months, so it's a lot easier to just plus and merge your female Kana and then use her in Arena. And Tempest Trials was a way of giving ults to the characters which otherwise may not have gotten them if they were just designing them for the purpose of being on a banner. And this was the way that a lot of people's favorites got into the game, and even some really popular characters also got their ults in Tempest Trials, like Halloween Ronolf. We have got Summer Mailshes, who was a really popular Grail merch project option, Winter Ecthenir. So there were some of the units which did get the preferred weapons, so we're not going to be having those kinds of free-to-play units anymore, and there is going to be a lot more dependence on Grand Hero Battle free units for the purpose of arena scoring for a lot of the free-to-play players. We do get a lot of good Grand Hero Battle units every now and again, like Rommel, Marnie, Panette, but historically a lot of the Tempest Trial units have also been arena merch project options for a lot of free-to-play players like Summer Mailshes, Ninja Hana, and also Near Female Kana, who I use in my arena core. And because we're not going to be getting any kind of new Tempest Trial units, we're also going to be missing on a lot of unique weapons, which a lot of the times were side grades of arcane weapons, I would say, and in some cases also better than the arcane weapons. Like last year, we got Jehana Lance, Serving Knife, Arena Sword. Even the dagger that Winter Zelkov has got is amazing for a lot of dagger units for supporting. So these weapons, were again given to you without the use of any kind of orbs, without summoning. You just got them through the heroic grails. So we're going to be losing out on that. And I guess this is a way that they are trying to cut the cost, because every single year, FEH is making a bit less money, and I guess they are trying to not put resources into these Tempest Trial units. But December was the month where FEH was back in top 50 gacha games in terms of revenue, and I guess they have some kind of stats where they see a lot of people not building up the Tempest Trial units, and that's why they are, axing them. But in my opinion, it's a problem that they have made. They could have just made these Tempest Trial units a lot better with more preferred weapons, and that would have given the incentive to a lot of people to build them up. If you give players good units, then they are going to be building them up. And I feel like if they were to cut the costs, I think a better way would have been to make the 4-star focus units that we had on these banners as the Tempest Trial reward, and instead have the 3-unit banners. It's not like we haven't had the 3-unit banners. Even a couple of months back, we just had the Harmonic, Brave Ike, and Brave Lynn banner, and they could have made 3-unit banners while still giving a free unit to the players and also still cutting the costs. I think that would have been a lot better, and at least, I was thinking, if you're going to be cutting these free-to-play units, then at least let us plus and merge these units. That would have been a decent compromise. I mean, it still stinks, but the fact that you cannot even plus and merge these units like Near Ash or Kadean Nino, is such a kick in the teeth. And we're going to be getting Kadean Nino as the reward of the next Tempest Trial. So I urge you guys to send feedback if you do not like this change, because, I did mention a lot of things that we're going to be missing because of them having this kind of change. And even if they run back on their decision, it's still going to be taking us many months to get back the free-to-play units, because it does take them many months to have these units in the pipeline. And that's why I think that giving out the 4-star focus units that you made for those banners as the free unit would have been, something that they could have done. So they haven't really said anything about this after they gave us this notification. I was kind of waiting to see if they give any kind of response, because a lot of people, for a good reason, do not like this change. So again, you can send the feedback. And now let's take a look at the New Year's banner. So I have faced a couple of these units as I am a bit late to making this video. So the first unit that we have is Baldr, and this time she is a Lance Flyer, and she is easily one of the best flying nukes that we have got. I would say second to like Young Camilla, because she has got a style in her weapon. So she has got Godly Devices as her lance, and this has got minus and special cooldown. It also has Iod Shield built in it. And for the foes that are in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her, they have -5 to all of their stats in the combat. She also has in-combat panic. So this is going to be quite helpful, because a lot of the units just get the buffs out of their preferred skills and with a lot of the skills. So this does help quite a lot, and you also get 50% damage reduction piercing, so your allies can also enjoy these effects. And then with the weapon, she has got the unconditional Omni plus 10 to all of her stats. She can also get 25 true damage, and then she has got some insane amounts of flat damage reduction. And most of the time, she is going to be having the higher end of this flat damage reduction. So if she doesn't have the weapons triangle disadvantage, then she has 50% of her speed as the flat damage reduction. So it's somewhere going to be around 35 to 40 flat damage reduction quite easily against the regular attacks and also against the specials. So she is actually ridiculously tanky because of it. And when she has got the weapons triangle disadvantage, then it's just going to be 20% of her speed. She can die to the green units, but if you're not green, then it's going to be pretty hard for you to kill her through her insane flat damage reduction. She also has Null Guard, and this weapon does let her use the red style, so she's going to be having the weapons triangle advantage against the green foes, and this is going to be once per turn, so it can help her against the green enemies. But still, from the experiences I had of facing her in Summoner Duels, she was not able to kill my Harmonic Brave Ike sometimes, so she is going to be a troublesome unit for a lot of the brave male Bylets, the attuned Dryomas, the legendary Black Knights, and she kind of increases the value of a lot of the blue Near Saviors, namely Winter Alfred, who has just come out, and he is an incredible Near Savior because of it. I shouldn't say Near Savior, he's more like a physical savior, but yeah, because of the style, she is going to be changing up the meta and how certain units are perceived as threats. So she has got her Slotty skill, which is a preferred skill in Heaven Stead N. So this has got Canto Distant Travel +1. Max, this can be Canto 4. And at start of turn, she is going to be inflicting the Triangle Adept and Exposure debuff to the closest foes and the foes in 2 spaces of them. So this Triangle Adept is going to be helping her with her red style basically, and she does get the Omni +9 to all of her stats with this, and then 7 true damage and 7 flat damage reduction. This also has the Null follow-up built in, and she has the dual phase brave effect basically when she's got the weapons triangle advantage, or if she is getting initiated on in enemy phase of hers, or if she's facing any kind of exposure foe. So this skill makes her killing power quite absurd with the fact that she's got so much flat damage reduction, and she is missing out on the potent follow-up attack, but now we do have the potent sacred seal, so you could run that on her. And there's also Emblem Heroes ring, so if you want to use her in Ether Raids, then she can get that extra action. And she does come with Heavenly Soar as her slot B skill, which is basically air superiority, but instead of giving you the potent follow-up attack, It just gives you the flat damage reduction based on your unit speed or defense, and you also get 20% true damage based on that, and it also gives you the defensive tempo effect. So basically she has got the full tempo in a way with her weapon and with this slot V skill, and just like air superiority, it does have that warping and pass built in it. So this is going to be a bit better than air superiority in my opinion, because potent is a sacred seal that you can run, and it's also a status effect that you can give out to other units. You cannot really run any kind of sacred seal that gives you the flat damage reduction like this. So I do like this a bit better as the slot V skill, and she also has Shadow Shift. So this is certainly replaceable with a couple of other slot V skills that you can run. And being a duo unit, she does have her duo button, which can be used in summoner duels. So it is going to be cleansing any kind of penalty for her and the allies in 3 spaces. You also get +6 buff to all of your stats, fringe bonus, and cancel affinity, which does go well with the triangular depth debuff that you can do with her slotty skill. And because it does give her 220 BST, expect to see her quite a lot in arena. And because of that, you kind of need to have some kind of green unit to kill her, because if you're going to be facing her at plus and merge, then without a green unit, it's going to be really hard for you to take her down, because she can be ridiculously bulky and also really hard to double. So overall, Duo Baldr is an insane unit for any kind of game mode. If you have played this Tempest Trial, then you can see her power in action, as she is the final boss, and she is not only an amazing nuke, but she can just survive so many things because of the flat damage reduction that she has got. And having the red style in her weapon is just gonna be changing so many matchups for her. So she is certainly gonna be a meta relevant unit for many months to come in my opinion. And I hope that we see her in the Hero Rises top 8, because a lot of people are gonna be wanting to have her. Then we have got Year Heimdallr, and she is a green cavalry unit. She does have some changes, and she is still an insane unit because of her foresight snare, and now she can just be blessed and be used in any kind of season. So she has got Year's Fan, and this has got minus some special cooldown, and on the foes in 3 rows and 3 columns centered on her, they get -5 attack, defense, and resistance in the combat. And you can just get the scale effect if foe's resistance is equal to or less than 39. So that scale support is amazing. And then she gives out the foresight snare at sort of enemy phase to the closest allies to the foe in 3 rows and 3 columns for Ether Raid's defense, as you would have seen with her mythic version. And outside of Ether Raid's defense, she just gives that to the highest defense ally closest to the foe. So you can actually just give this to multiple units with Arena Ferox Crom, with Allfather. So those are some of the ways of just giving this to multiple units. And of course, she is going to be an obnoxious unit in Summoner Duels, especially in Summoner Duels, as now that you can have 2 teams with Heimdallr and her Foresight Snare. Still, I do like Allfather as a counterplay to her, because he can just steal the Foresight Snare. So I did enjoy that quite a lot in my recent rank 1 run in Summoner Duels R. So there's not much you can do about that, but still, it's an insane tool at your disposal. And then with the weapon, she gets +11 to her attack, defense, and resistance, 25 true damage, and then 15 flat damage reduction. And she also gets 2 cooldown, preempt pulse essentially, and it is going to be dependent on the number of penalty effects active on the foe. So unless they have some insane cleansing, most of the time you're going to be able to get this, and then she's going to be able to nuke a bit. But mainly she is going to be used for her Foresight Snare, and then for her passive she has got Ice Wall, Attack Res Aria, and her preferred slot B skill in an open book. So this does have the counter remaining movement and -5 attack and resistance debuff on the enemy in the combat, follow-up denial and guard, which can be bypassed by a lot of the modern units. And then she gets another round of true damage and flat damage reduction based on 20% of her resistance, and then this also has the preempt pulse effect, so it can stack up with her weapon. And of course, at sort of both player phase and enemy phase, she can inflict the stall, discord, and exposure status to the closest foes and the foes in 2 spaces. So the stall debuff is actually pretty annoying from her mythic version and also from her New Year's version, because if you're just running any kind of unit with Brutal Tempest or Sigurd Ring, then the stall status just makes it really annoying. And this is going to be helping her just get the 2 cooldown preempt pulse from her weapon, inflicting those debuffs on the enemy. And then she does have a new slotsy skill in attack res, Liberate. So this is essentially the inverse of the shackled skills. So this is going to be giving you attack liberate and resistance liberate to yourself and the allies that are closest to the foe. And this does give you the true damage based on the number of bonus status effects that you've got and also extra attack and resistance. So a pretty good slotsy scale for a lot of these cavalry units for just getting a bit more true damage in the combat. So this can be pretty nice along with a shackled slot B skill just for getting the extra stats in the combat and also debuffing the enemy and getting lots of true damage for any of these cavalry units. So that is Year Heimdallr, and you're going to be seeing her quite a lot in any kind of competitive game mode, mainly because of her Foresight Snare. So more or less, she is going to be kind of similar to her mythic version. It's just that she is green color now, and she also can be blessed. So the fact that she can be blessed is the main thing and the main reason why a lot of people may want to pull for her and then put her in Aether Raid's defense in the dark season, or use yourself in the Aether Raid's offense. So I can see that being a really helpful thing, because when you're going to be tanking, the enemy unit that does most amount of damage is going to be attacking you first. So the Foresight Snare status can help you with that. Just alleviate some of the pressure when it comes to Omni tanking. So that is something that she can help with. And then we have got Year Vali, and she is going to be a red mage flyer this time. She is a really solid unit and certainly better than her mythic version in my opinion, because of the fact that she is a red unit and she does not have weapon strangle disadvantage to a lot of the red units that are going to be running Arc Rival. So she has God Sister Hagoisha, and this has got +3 speed and also counter remaining movement and Iron Shield built in it, and of course close counter as well. And she can give out the 3 space drive +5 attack and speed to the allies, and also close and distant counter effect, which is good. But you'll have to watch out for any kind of feud effects which are going to be ignoring that. And she also gives you the miracle, and after triggering that miracle, you basically get 40 HP heal, and you also get the attack speed great talent +10. So this is going to be once per map. And this is what makes her a really good supportive unit, and the fact that she can survive a lot of things by herself. And this also gives her the unconditional +15 to all of her stats, the dull all effect, which is going to be ignoring any kind of visible buffs of the enemies, and she gets a lot of true damage, and the cap of it is quite high because it is going to be scaling off based on the total value of attack and speed great talent +15. So you can basically get like 55 true damage, and then she also has 15 flat damage reduction on the first attacks, and she also has the full null follow-up with this weapon, and she also has her same special as her mythic version in Invincible Sister. So this is going to be basically the holdout skill from Engage, which is going to be giving you the miracle. And keep in mind that this is a defensive special, so any kind of unit that disables the defensive specials in the combat is going to be able to bypass this. So this does have miracle, and once you trigger it, you're going to be doing 0 damage yourself, and the foe is also going to be doing 0 damage. And because of that, she is going to be able to survive and then heal up 40 HP. And that's what makes her a pretty good unit to just survive. And you can pair her up with stuff like Nurgle to make sure that you can steal the status effects with the Essence Drain, because she is going to be surviving most of the time. And then after triggering it, you also get attack speed great talent +10, and the max of it can be 20. You also get the 5 cooldown special spiral after the combat, and of course Gale Force, which is going to be once per turn, so she can get that extra action. And at sort of both the player phase and enemy phase, you heal up 40 HP, and you also have a 5 cooldown time pulse essentially. And she does have the anti-arc rival effect with the -2 cooldown Lagu style pre-impulse. So before the enemy's first attack, she is going to be able to get -2 special cooldown, and then she gets 40% damage reduction, which is unpierceable on the first attacks. And then she gets the true damage on her first follow-up attack, which is going to be scaling off based on 50% of foe's attack and the total attack speed grade talent buff that you've got. So this special makes her extremely annoying, and now she also has uplift imbue attack speed. So this can make her a bit more resilient to the AoE attacks basically. So for the unit and the allies in 3 rows and 3 columns, centered on her, she gives out the +5 attack and speed, and you also get the 5 flat damage reduction, and you essentially have the better Breath of Life as you heal up 40% of your max HP as the combat begins. So this is kind of, absurd on a unit like Vali, and this is going to be a skill that you're going to be seeing quite a lot on any kind of flyer for the support. So along with the skill and her weapon, she can give out some insane support, and she is one of those units who can easily run past inner slot B with the Celica ring and be a really obnoxious unit because of her guaranteed survival with her special, and she is blessable now. And as I said, having the red color on her, I think is a lot better for her in terms of the matchups than her being a green unit. So she is a powerful unit. Just watch out for the units that can disable your specials like Halloween Freya. They are going to be a big threat to you. And then the final unit of this banner is a 4-star focus in Year Sedgar. So he is a colorless bow cavalier, and he does have a pretty nice weapon in Horse Bow Plus, and you can easily give this weapon to many of the dancers because on the foes in 3 rows and 3 columns, you're going to be inflicting -5 to all of their stats. You also get 10 true damage and 50% damage reduction piercing against them, and for the unit themselves, you also get 20 true damage. So this weapon gives you a lot of true damage, which is good for nuking, and that's what makes it a pretty nice weapon, not only just for the support, but also for the unit themselves. And you also get 10 flat damage reduction. So yeah, I would have liked them to make Sedgar as the Tempest Trial reward unit, because having this weapon in the Heroic Grails would have been just so amazing. He does come with speed defense detect because he is on a banner. So this is a good skill to have. Not as good as the favor skills, but still, it is going to be quite useful with the extraction units and also with the Micaiah ring that we have got. And in this Tempest Trial, we also get Blue Skies as the Sacred Seal, which is kind of insane. It doesn't have the Kanto, but it still gives you +6 attack and speed and up to +6 true damage and flat damage reduction. So it's not bad. And you also get Dull Close and of course Newer Ash, but you're not going to be able to plus and merge her when she shows up in the Heroic Grail shop. So I guess she can provide you the Distant Reversal and Attack Defense Bulwark as the fodder. This is why I think they could have just made the Tempest Trial units have better skills and better preferred weapons, and a lot more people would have built them up. So this is something they could have easily done to make it so that a lot more people invest their time and money into building up these Tempest Trial units. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. And I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their amazing support. And you can also click subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as the free Tempest Trial units at this point. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.